Hello everyone, and welcome to the Astro's Playroom any percent speedrun visual guide. This video will be a general overview of various tricks and tips and techniques that you may need to know before you start this speedrun guide, along with the any percent rules and the intro stage that will be discussed later in this video. So let's begin this speedrun guide with telling you exactly what the rules are for the any percent. The rules state that the run begins as soon as you hit the X button to leave this screen to start the cutscene that goes into the controller demo. Furthermore, the speedrun ends as soon as you let go of the tongue that delivers the final blow on the mech T-Rex at the very end of the game. There are various tricks, tips, and techniques that you will need to know in order to pull off some of the most difficult strategies that are used in this game to save you even more time. Another thing to note is that not everyone will be comfortable with Astro's Playroom control layout. In order to change these controls, you can just go to your console settings, go up to accessibility, and then go down to controllers and custom button assignments. Through here, you can change the controls to anything that you want, and you can use that so that way you can more easily access the buttons that you are trying to hit. As for me, I am pretty comfortable with the original controls that they have for it, so I will not be changing them. The first and most basic trick you will need to know is that Astro has two speeds. When you are walking in a fairly straight path for a given amount of time, Astro will instead stop walking and start going into a sprint. The sprint stops whenever you get too close to an edge that makes Astro stop, or whenever you stop running. So it's important that once you get this speed that you need to maintain momentum by just running around in circles or just continuing down a path so that way you do not lose this speed. Also, this speed carries on into next stages of the same world, which means that even if you jump into a suit that changes Astro's form, as long as you had the speed before you went into the suit, you will have the same amount of speed whenever you come out of the suit. The next trick you will need to know is how to get the most out of your jumps. So you have the regular hover and then you have the spin. With these two combined, you can make greater distances and greater heights. Also, I want to point out that doing the spin after the hover can also kind of clip the game a little bit so that way you can make jumps that aren't normally possible. If you notice in this demonstration that whenever you do a spin and then a hover, that Astro has his legs straight out. But if you do a hover and then a spin, Astro pulls up his legs slightly so it shrinks his character box a little bit, which will make getting into those really tough to make jumps a little easier. Another thing that we need to note is water movement. As you can see here, Astro does not swim as fast as he does whenever he's jumping on the water. It takes a little bit of practice to get the timing down, but it's not too difficult and you'll get it in no time. Another useful trick is microphone canceling. All this is that whenever you go up to these fans that normally ask you to blow into the microphone in order to activate them, you just have your microphone muted and it does it for you automatically. This is the most optimal way to handle this strategy because the game activates the fans faster than you could ever blow into the microphone. Note that this does not work whenever you're doing the controller demo. You will need to have your microphone unmuted and blow into the microphone for the controller demo. After you get done, you can mute the microphone and you will be okay for the rest of the run. Another trick that will be useful in your run is wire canceling. All this is that normally when you pull on a wire, Astro will slide across the ground a little bit. To stop this, just do a jump as soon as he starts sliding and it will cancel the slide animation and you can continue with your run and save a few seconds. There is one more trick that I want to explain. It is not useful in the any percent speedrun anymore because it was taken out of the main game, but it remains in the network speedrun stages, so I feel like that there's enough room to talk about it just in case they bring it back. It is highly unlikely, but it might be, so I'll go ahead and explain how it works. This is probably one of the most famous glitches in Astro's Playroom called the double hover glitch. And all this is that whenever you do a punch, before you fall off an edge, Astro can do a hover, a spin, and then another hover. Not particularly in that order. You can put those in any order that you wish, but the point is that you will get two hovers out of it. This is mainly used in the network speedrun stages to further cut down people's time, It wasn't found to be as optimal in the normal any% speedrun anyways, since Astro cannot fall off a lot of edges that will normally kill him. The visual cue you are looking for is that Astro throws a normal one-arm punch. If you get this while you're falling off the edge, you will get the double hover. If Astro does a spin, it means that you did the punch too late. There are other tricks that can be used in the speedrun as well, but these are the most famous ones that you will need to know before you start your run. I will explain the others as we get to them in the appropriate stages that use them. The first thing you will encounter whenever you start your run is the controller demo. I will not go over this too much because it is very straightforward on what you do, you just need to do it quickly. A good time to shoot for is under 38 seconds. That's about where you want to be. Under 37 seconds is extraordinary and does not happen very often. I've only done it a handful of times myself, but it is very possible. Once you get past the controller demo, the first thing you will come up to is this little demonstration room explaining all of the controls of Astro's Playroom. The first thing you want to do is hit the jump button to get out of this controller. The next thing you will want to do is while the cutscene is playing with Astro falling on the ground, you will begin holding the attack button. The reason for this is we need to charge up a spin attack that we will use later. After that short cutscene ends, we want to do 2 hovers to get on top of this platform to where there are 2 glass floors that can be broken. I use this little line on the ground as a visual cue of when to jump and do a hover, so that way I land as soon as possible and I can get my next jump in, saving as much time as possible. After you get up to the top, just do 2 hovers to break this glass, and you will do each one and hit the button. It's better to start on the left side since you are already over there and then hit the one on the right. After you press both buttons, just do a normal jump and release your spin attack and you will start hitting this glass dome on the other side of these platforms before they move out of the way. If you timed it right, the glass should break as soon as your spin attack finishes, which allows you to grab the wires as soon as possible. After you pull the wires, a long cutscene will play. If you are recording on PlayStation, you will need to go through this entire cutscene. If you are recording on some kind of recording software that allows you to see your PlayStation menu, then I will show you the best way to handle this. The next thing you'll want to do as soon as you pull the wires is to go to the home menu and close out the game. And then you will immediately reopen it. If you get lucky, you can hit the PlayStation button and you will have a teleport skip on the side. To do this, just move over to CPU Plaza and hit square to resume and it will put you directly in the plaza. If you do not get this, just continue going through the menus and just hit continue. It's about a 4-second difference, but it is still faster than going through the normal cutscene that plays after you pull those wires. The next thing we want to establish is level order. You can do these levels in any order that you desire. Before we start the run though, you need to go to each world that you are not going to play first and unlock every single teleport for them. One important thing to note when you are unlocking these worlds, Memory Meadow has a really weird way of not giving you the teleport. Astro must hit the ground before you leave in order for you to get this teleport. The other stages do not do this. I don't know why Memory Meadow is the only one that does, but it does. So that's something important that you will need to know when you are unlocking these teleports. Once you have unlocked all the other worlds, go ahead and head inside the world that you want to start with. My recommendation is to start with your most difficult world that gives you the most trouble, so that way if you get a good run through it, you don't have to worry about it anymore throughout the rest of your run. The world that I usually start with is GPU Jungle because it has the most optimization and tricks to pull off that can take a lot of your time out if you're not careful. Which is where the next video will begin. So I will see you next time and we'll explain all the current tricks and routes that are used in this world. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you next time.